Welcome to Graveyard Mile, where the past never stays buried, and every story has a chill waiting for you. If you love late-night mysteries, haunted places, and spine-tingling legends, you're in the right place. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a walk through the shadows. I didn't believe in ghosts when I got stationed in Louisiana. Not the real kind, anyway. I believed in exhaustion, in boredom, in old buildings that creaked and popped when the humidity shifted. I believed in bad lighting and worse sleep schedules. I believed in the human brain filling in gaps when you were tired enough and alone enough. Well, I didn't believe in was anything that waited for you. That changed my second week on base. The place didn't look haunted at first. In fact, from the air, it looked like any other Air Force installation in the deep South. Long gray runways cutting through miles of swampy flatland, clusters of low concrete buildings, radar domes like oversized golf balls, and perimeter fencing that disappeared into tall grass and fog every morning like clockwork. The air always smelled damp. Rotting leaves, jet fuel, and something metallic underneath it all. The base had been active since World War II. That was the first thing my sponsor told me when I arrived. A lot of history here, he said, tapping the steering wheel as we drove past rows of hangars. Some of these buildings are older than my granddad. He laughed. I didn't. Older buildings meant bad wiring, weird noises, and places people forgot to renovate. It also meant stories. Every base had them. Every squadron had at least one NCO who swore they'd seen something unexplainable on mids. I figured this place would be no different. My job put me on security forces, which meant long shifts, perimeter patrols, and nights where nothing happened until suddenly everything did. The schedule rotated constantly, but most of my time was spent on nights. Graveyard shifts. The hours when the base felt less like a military installation and more like an abandoned city pretending to be alive. It was quiet in a way that made your ears ring. The first time I heard about the storage area was in the break room. A couple of senior airmen were leaning against the vending machines, half asleep, half annoyed at the universe. Someone had brought up patrol routes, complaining about getting stuck in the dead zones. Man, I hate when they put me anywhere near the old storage site, one of them muttered. The other guy stiffened slightly. Don't say that name out loud. I almost laughed. Say what? I asked, pulling my coffee from the machine. It tasted like burnt rubber, but it was warm. They both looked at me then. Fellow people give when they realize you're new. Too new. You must be fresh, the first one said. 2 weeks, I replied. Yeah. The second guy said slowly. That explains it. Explains what? They exchanged a glance. The kind that wasn't planned, just instinctive. Nothing, the first guy said quickly. Just old buildings. Place gives people the creeps. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. Later that night, I asked my patrol partner about it. He was a senior airman named Cole, mid-20s calm, the kind of guy who always seemed like he'd already accepted whatever nonsense the Air Force threw at him. Storage area, he repeated, eyes still on the road as we rolled past the flight line. You mean Storage Site Charlie? Is that what it's called? That's the official name, he said. Then, after a pause, nobody calls it that. What do they call it? Cole didn't answer right away. The headlights swept across empty concrete and tall grass bending in the wind. People just say the site, he said finally, or they say nothing at all. I waited. He sighed. Look, man, every base has ghost stories. This one just got a really persistent one. About what? A kid, he said. Little girl. Supposedly fell during construction. That made me glance over. Fell where? He pointed off into the darkness, past the fence line. Back when they were expanding storage. Long time ago. Before either of us were born. What happened to her? They say she fell from one of the upper levels. Hit the concrete. Died on site. That's it. That's never it, Cole replied. According to the story, the storage area was being built in phases. large reinforced concrete buildings designed to store equipment and materials. During construction, workers would sometimes bring their families on a base during the day. One of them had a daughter. Nobody remembered her name anymore, just that she was young. 6, 7, maybe younger. She wasn't supposed to be up there. Nobody ever was. She fell from a high platform straight down into the unfinished section below. Some said it was an accident. Others said someone wasn't paying attention. A few claimed they heard screaming before she fell. Construction stopped for a while after that. When it resumed, people said the atmosphere changed. Workers reported tools going missing, sounds echoing through empty corridors, footsteps where no one should have been. Eventually, the site was completed. Years later, it was shut down. Why? I asked. Cole shrugged. Officially? Budget. Reorganization. Base expansion moved storage elsewhere. Unofficially, he hesitated. Unofficially, people didn't like being there. I laughed. You're telling me the Air Force closed a facility because it was spooky? I'm telling you, he said, glancing at me, that nobody ever stays long when they get posted there at night. That should have been my first warning. My second week on base, I got assigned to night patrol near the closed storage area. The route was mostly dead space. Overgrown lots, cracked pavement, chain link fences that rattled when the wind picked up. The storage buildings loomed in the distance, barely lit, their concrete walls stained dark from decades of rain and neglect. They looked like bunkers. You ever been inside? I asked. Cole shook his head. Nope, I don't plan to. Why not? Because there's no reason to, he said. And because people who go in there come back quiet. That night, nothing happened. No sounds, no shadows, just the hum of insects and the distant roar of a jet taking off somewhere far away. But I noticed something strange. Every time we drove past the storage site, the radio crackled. Not static, not interference, just noise. Low, warped, like a voice stretched too thin. Cole noticed it too. He adjusted the radio, frowned, then turned it down. Probably interference from old wiring, he said. I nodded. Still didn't believe in ghosts. That belief didn't survive much longer, because a few nights later, Command made an announcement. Due to renovations elsewhere on base, temporary patrols would be conducted inside the closed storage area, using an old cattle truck. Nobody volunteered, and when my name came up on the roster, I swear I felt the base itself go quiet. The cattle truck looked like something the base had forgotten on purpose. It sat parked behind the security forces building, rust creeping along the edges. Its once green paint faded to a dull, sickly gray. The back was enclosed with thick metal walls, narrow bench seating bolted along the sides, and a single overhead light that flickered even when no one touched it. This thing still runs? I asked. Cole circled it slowly, hands on his hips. Barely. But Command says it's good enough. Good enough for what? He gave me a sideways look. For us. The official reason was simple: patrol visibility. The storage area had uneven terrain, debris, and old access roads that standard patrol vehicles weren't supposed to use anymore. The cattle truck had better clearance, thicker tires, and could handle the mess without risking damage to newer vehicles. Unofficially, nobody wanted to walk that place. The first night we were assigned there, the flight chief briefed us himself. That alone was strange. Normally, patrol assignments were handed down without ceremony. This time, we were called into his office like we were about to deploy. Flight Chief Harris was a career security forces guy. Late 40s, solid build. Eyes that looked like they'd seen too much and learned to stop reacting to it. You'll be doing perimeter sweeps inside the closed storage site, he said, folding his hands on the desk. Standard patrol. No hero stuff. Yes, sir, we both replied. There's no power in most of the buildings, he continued. Minimal lighting. You'll stay in the vehicle unless you're required to dismount. Cole nodded. I did the same. Harris paused. Just for a second. If you hear anything unusual, he said carefully, you log it. You don't investigate unless directed. That made my stomach tighten. Sir, I asked, what qualifies as unusual? His eyes met mine. You'll know. We rolled out just after midnight. The drive to the storage site felt longer than it should have been. The farther we got from the active parts of the base, the quieter everything became. No engines. No distant voices. Even the insects seemed muted, like the air itself was listening. The gate to the storage area was already open. That bothered me. The chain-link fence stretched on both sides, disappearing into darkness. The gate creaked slightly as the cattle truck rolled through, the sound echoing far longer than it should have. Inside, the buildings stood in rows. Massive concrete structures with faded numbers painted on their sides. Some had collapsed sections. Others were sealed tight, doors welded shut years ago. This place feels wrong, I muttered. Cole didn't argue. We followed the designated route, headlights cutting through the dark. The beams caught weeds growing through cracked asphalt, old warning signs bent and unreadable, a debris pile where nature had started reclaiming the place. The radio crackled again. Same sound as before. Low, distorted, almost like breathing. Cole turned the volume down without a word. About 10 minutes into the patrol, I noticed something else. The temperature. Outside, it was classic Louisiana night. Humid, heavy, air sticking to your skin. Inside the storage area, it felt cooler. Not dramatically so, but enough that I became aware of it. Does it feel colder to you? I asked. Cole nodded. Yeah. We didn't talk much after that. The first sound happened near Building 12. At first, I thought it was the engine. A low groan, barely audible. I shifted in my seat, listening closer. Then it happened again. Longer this time. Drawn out. It didn't sound mechanical. It sounded strained. Did you hear that? I asked. Cole slowed the truck. Yeah. The sound came again, echoing off the concrete walls around us. It wasn't loud, but it carried. It wrapped around the vehicle, impossible to pinpoint. It reminded me of something I'd heard in a movie once. A broken, grieving sound, like someone trying to cry without lungs strong enough to do it. That's not the engine, I said. No, Cole replied quietly. It's not. We sat there, headlights illuminating an empty stretch of road between two buildings. Nothing moved. No shadows crossed our lights. The groan came again. Closer. I felt my chest tighten. You think it's an animal? Cole shook his head slowly. I've hunted my whole life. That's not an animal. The sound shifted. It rose in pitch, becoming almost vocal. A warped moan that curled my stomach in on itself. This is getting logged, I said. Agreed. Cole started to turn the truck around. That's when the sound changed completely. It multiplied. It came from the left, the right, behind us, surrounding the vehicle. I gripped the door handle. Cole, it's everywhere. The noise climbed higher, breaking into a harsh, choking wail. It sounded angry now, or desperate, or both. The overhead light inside the truck flickered violently. Go, I said. Go now. Cole didn't hesitate. He floored it. The cattle truck roared forward, tires crunching over debris as we sped down the road. The sound followed us, matching our speed, rising and falling like it was circling the truck. I swear. Asterisk, I swear, asterisk. I heard words in it. Not clear ones, but something trying to speak. Don't slow down, I said. I'm not, Cole replied, knuckles white on the wheel. The moment we crossed back through the gate, the sound stopped. Not faded. Stopped. Like someone flipped a switch. The silence afterward was worse. We didn't say a word the rest of the drive back. When we finally parked, Cole shut off the engine and just sat there, staring straight ahead. I don't want to go back in there, he said quietly. Neither did I, but we both knew we would, because when we logged the incident, the flight chief didn't look surprised. He just nodded and said, "Yeah, that sounds about right." We didn't sleep after that first patrol. I went back to my dorm room, shut the door, and sat on the edge of my bed until sunrise. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard that sound again, low, strained, wrong. Not loud enough to cover up with reason. Not quiet enough to ignore. I kept telling myself it was something explainable. Echoes, old structures, wind moving through concrete corridors. But deep down, I knew none of that explained why the sound had reacted to us. The next night, Cole and I were assigned back to the storage site. Neither of us protested. That surprised me. It wasn't bravery. It was something else, an unspoken understanding that whatever was out there wasn't done with us yet. The cattle truck was waiting again, same rusted shell, same flickering light. I climbed in and immediately felt that pressure in my chest return, like the air inside the truck was heavier than everywhere else on base. Cole shut the door behind us with a loud metallic bang. "You ready?" he asked. "No," I said, "but let's go." The drive out felt different this time. Quieter. Even the radio didn't crackle. The gate to the storage site stood open again. I stared at it as we rolled through. Do they ever close that? Cole shook his head. I've never seen it closed. Inside, the headlights cut across the same buildings as before, but now I noticed details I hadn't the first time. Handprints in the grime along the walls. Faded warning signs scratched beyond recognition. Deep gouges in the concrete near one of the entrances, like something heavy had been dragged repeatedly across the ground. "Cole," I said slowly, "has anyone ever documented injuries out here?" He didn't answer right away. Unofficially, he said, "Yeah." The temperature dropped again as we drove deeper. My breath fogged slightly. "That's not normal," I muttered. "No," Cole agreed. We passed Building 12 again. Nothing happened. I almost relaxed. Then we passed Building 13. The sound came back. Not loud. Close. It didn't echo this time. It came from directly beside the truck. A wet, broken groan that scraped along my nerves like fingernails. I turned my head toward the window. There was nothing there. "Do not stop," I whispered. "I won't," Cole said. The groan shifted into something else. A rhythm. Breathing. Slow. Labored. Matching the pace of the truck. My heart started hammering. It's keeping up with us. I know. The overhead light flickered once. Twice. Then stayed on. And that's when I smelled it. Rot. Not garbage. Not swamp. Decay. Like something that had been dead for a long time, but never fully gone. "Do you smell that?" I asked. Cole swallowed. "Yeah." The sound changed again. It rose in pitch, twisting into something almost vocal. Almost human. Almost. A long, distorted cry spilled out, broken and uneven, like someone trying to scream through a crushed throat. I clamped my hands over my ears. It didn't help. The sound wasn't coming from outside anymore. It felt like it was inside the truck, inside my head. I squeezed my eyes shut, and I heard footsteps, not outside, on the roof. Slow, dragging. Metal creaked above us as something heavy shifted its weight. Cole slammed the accelerator. The truck lurched forward, engine screaming in protest. The footsteps kept pace. Each step dented the roof slightly, just enough that I could see the metal flex. "Oh God," I whispered. The sound dropped lower, closer, until it felt like someone was leaning down toward us. Then, the overhead light went out. Total darkness. Cole cursed and kept driving. Something slammed against the side of the truck. Once. Twice. I screamed. The third impact hit near my door, hard enough to rock the vehicle. "Don't look," Cole shouted. I wasn't planning to. The groaning became furious now, layered with something wet and choking. It sounded angry, like we were trespassing, like we didn't belong. The gate appeared in the headlights ahead. The moment we crossed it, everything stopped again. The footsteps vanished. The sound died mid-groan. The smell disappeared. The overhead light flickered back on. We skidded to a stop just outside the fence. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. Finally, Cole turned to me. "There's something in there," he said, "and it knows we're alive." I nodded. When we reported it, the flight chief didn't interrupt, didn't take notes, didn't ask questions. He just listened. When we finished, he leaned back in his chair and exhaled slowly. "You heard it on the roof," he said. "Yes, sir." He nodded once. "That's new," he murmured. My blood ran cold. "New?" I asked. He met my eyes. "It doesn't usually climb." After that night, Cole asked to be reassigned. He didn't say why. He didn't have to. Security Forces doesn't like paperwork that involves words like unexplainable or entity. Instead, they call it stress, fatigue, or loss of operational focus. Cole got moved to a different flight within a week. That left me alone. Or at least, that's how it felt when my name came up again on the patrol roster. Storage site. Night patrol. Cattle truck. Asterisk asterisk. Different partner this time. Senior Airman Daniels. Daniels was quiet in a different way than Cole. Not nervous. Not skeptical. Just observant. The kind of guy who noticed things and kept those observations to himself. "You ever been out there before?" he asked as we climbed into the truck. "Yes," I said. He studied my face for a moment. "Then you already know." The drive out felt heavier than before. The gate stood open, as always. Inside, the darkness seemed thicker. The headlights didn't travel as far, swallowed by shadows that pressed close to the road. We hadn't even reached Building 10 when the temperature dropped sharply. My breath fogged again. "That's a big swing," Daniels muttered. "Yeah." The radio crackled, then died completely. No static, no noise, just dead. Daniels tapped it once, frowned, then left it alone. "Let's just do the route," he said. The sound didn't wait long this time. It started as soon as we passed the halfway point. Low, close, right behind us. Daniels slowed the truck slightly, scanning the mirrors. "Don't," I said quickly. "Don't slow down." He glanced at me. "You've heard it before." "Yes." The groan twisted upward into that broken, choking wail. Then it did something new. It changed direction. It moved ahead of us. The headlights caught movement. Not a shape, a distortion, like the air itself was bending. The sound grew louder, angrier then. It spoke. Not clearly, but close enough. "Help." My stomach dropped. Daniel swore under his breath. "That's a kid." "It's not," I said automatically. "It can't be." The voice cried again, stretched and wrong, like the sound was being pulled through something too tight. "Why did you leave me?" The truck shuddered. The engine sputtered. "No," Daniel said. "No, no, no." The cattle truck died. We rolled to a stop in the middle of the road. The headlights flickered, then stayed on. Silence. The kind that presses against your ears. Daniels tried the ignition. Nothing. The sound returned immediately. Louder. Closer. It came from all directions now, overlapping itself. A chorus of broken cries. "I don't want to be here," Daniels whispered. The footsteps returned. On the ground this time. Slow. Dragging. Circling the truck. The metal walls creaked as something leaned against them. The smell of rot flooded the cab. I forced myself to breathe. "We stay inside," I said. "No matter what." The voice spoke again. Clearer now. I fell. Daniel squeezed his eyes shut. "Oh God, I didn't mean to," the voice whimpered. "It hurts." Something scratched along my door. Long. Deliberate. Like fingernails. "I can't get up," the voice said. "It's dark." The overhead light flickered on, and something cast a shadow against the inside wall of the truck. Small. Too small to be an adult. Daniels let out a broken sob. "We have to help her." "No," I said sharply. "That's not a child." The scratching sped up. The shadow stretched unnaturally, limbs elongating as it moved. The voice twisted, dropping into that distorted, wet grown we'd heard before. You left me. The door handle rattled violently. The engine suddenly roared back to life. Daniel screamed and slammed into gear. The truck lurched forward, tearing away from the shadow as it slammed against the side. The sound became furious, screaming now, layered with that horrible groaning. The gate appeared ahead. We burst through it at full speed. The moment we crossed, the engine cut out again, but this time it didn't matter. We were out. Daniels broke down, sobbing in the seat beside me. When we reported it, the flight chief was waiting. He didn't look surprised. He looked tired. You heard her speak, he said. Yes, sir. He nodded slowly. That means she's getting stronger. I swallowed. Sir, he met my eyes. There was no record of just one death at that site, he said quietly. Flight Chief Harris didn't dismiss us after the report. That alone told me everything had changed. Normally, once an incident was logged, especially something that couldn't be verified, you were sent back to duty or home to sleep it off. This time, he locked the door to his office and gestured for us to sit. Daniel's hands were still shaking. Mine weren't. That scared me more. There's something you need to understand, Harris said, rubbing his temples. What you encountered out there isn't just a ghost story. It's a pattern. He opened a drawer and pulled out a thick folder. No markings, no labels, just old. These are reports that never made it past squadron level, he said. Some of them go back decades. He slid the folder across the desk. I flipped it open. Handwritten logs, incident reports, statements, different handwriting, different years, same location, same descriptions, unidentified vocalizations, sudden temperature drops, vehicle malfunctions, sounds resembling a distressed child, and then, in later reports, aggressive behavior, physical contact, auditory mimicry. She wasn't the only one who died, Harris said quietly. Daniels looked up sharply. You said there was no record of just one death. That's right, Harris replied. Because officially there were none. The story everyone told, the one about the little girl falling during construction, was only part of the truth. During the early expansion of a storage site, safety standards were loose. Contractors were rushed. Corners were cut. There were multiple accidents. A worker crushed under falling concrete. Another who fell from scaffolding. One man who disappeared entirely. Never found, never logged, quietly written off as a walk-off to avoid delays. But the child? She wasn't supposed to be there at all. No paperwork. No incident report. No death certificate. She fell into a lower section that hadn't been poured yet, Harris said. Rebar. Debris. A pit that wasn't meant to be accessed. Daniel swallowed hard. They couldn't get her out, Harris continued. By the time they reached her, she was trapped, badly hurt. My stomach twisted. They left her, Harris said. The room went silent. They sealed the section, he went on. Finished construction over it. The contractor paid a fine. The family was transferred off base, and the site went operational. I felt sick. She didn't die right away, Harris said. That's the part nobody likes to talk about. Daniel stood up abruptly and turned away. That's what you're hearing, Harris said. Not just her death. Her waiting. I thought about the voice. The words. Why did you leave me? She learned, Harris continued. Over time. Learn how to sound like us. Learn how to call out. I looked up. Sir, you said it doesn't usually climb. Harris met my eyes. I was your age when I first heard it, he said. The room felt colder. It followed us out of the storage site once, he admitted. Not far, just to the fence. My heart skipped. Followed you. He nodded. That's why the gate stays open. I stared at him. If it thinks it's still unfinished, Harris said, it doesn't try to leave. That night was my last patrol of the storage site. Command shut down interior patrols the following week. Officially, it was due to vehicle safety concerns. The cattle truck was taken off the roster and quietly removed. Cole transferred bases. Daniels took leave and never came back to the squadron. I finished my enlistment 6 months later. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Years later, I read about the base online. It had been partially decommissioned, some buildings demolished, others sealed permanently. Storage site Charlie was still there, still fenced, still untouched. Someone in the comments of an article mentioned hearing noises near the perimeter at night. A low groaning sound, like someone crying, like someone who never got out. Sometimes when it's quiet, too quiet, I still hear it. That broken, strained sound. Not angry anymore, just waiting. And every time I hear it, I remember what the flight chief said before I left. She doesn't want revenge, he told me. She just wants someone to finish the